Welcome to Birch Tree Studios, the home of 1013 Publications. This is 40 Below Zero, an international show about chronic illness hosted by two guys with MS. I'm your co-host Nick, and with me as always is Terry. We're so glad all of our warriors and supporters are here with us, so let's get into it. Terry, tell us about our guest this week.
Dude, I'm excited because I think we've been connected for 3 years, maybe 4 years on Instagram, and we really never talked. But it always felt like a family feel. It's just that's it. You have MS, I have MS, dude. You're my brother. I know it sounds weird, but it was just that connection. And we have other connections with friends and stuff. But Neil Bradley, I'm so happy you could make it today. Please, where are you located? Where are you from?
Belfast, Northern Ireland. Yeah.
Northern Ireland.
Yeah. So I'm currently in the hospital at the minute. So I'm having rehabilitation.
Oh, okay. 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 When did that start?
I started I came in Tuesday. I started Ocrevus. So I had my first dose, and then I was admitted Tuesday night. So I'll probably be here for, hopefully about 3 weeks. Hopefully to get back on crutches, because since sort of start of August, I've been in the wheelchair.
Okay. I got a bunch of questions. Nick, do you have any questions before I get into it?
Go for it, Terry.
I'm so interested because I know he was diagnosed 2017.
Yeah.
You were on Instagram since 2015.
Yeah.
So I did some serious investigation. I'm like, okay, when did this guy put his first post? I was just so curious, right? Because I don't know much about you other than the fact that you were diagnosed 2017 and you started using crutches. I should have been using crutches. I used a cane to keep me up.
Okay.
But dude, crutches are the smartest thing, and people should know that. You know.
Yeah, definitely.
Or walker,
yeah,
but in your case, yeah.
Yeah, I started off. I was diagnosed 2017. Was told I could still walk remarkably well despite the number of lesions on the spine and brain. Basically given a booklet of DMTs to read over, and advised, give you a few months and then we'll go from there. But in between all that, I took a really bad, my first ever relapse. Yeah. I ended up in hospital 3 weeks in a wheelchair. Then I was home for a week, then in rehab for 3 weeks. I left on a crutch, and just from 1 crutch, 2 crutches, mobility scooter, now a wheelchair. So, yeah.
A lot more questions, man. Okay, what was your first DMT, first of all?
Tysabri. It's only one. Yeah, I started that in 2017, and then I had my last Tysabri would have been start of August.
So, and that's how you say it, Tysabri?
Tysabri, yeah.
There was an episode before where it's like Tysabri or Tysabri. So, okay.
Yeah.
And you're not on that, obviously. You're on Ocrevus now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah. See how it goes.
Do you know when you were on Instagram, you got diagnosed 2017, you hardly said anything about it. You were hardly on Instagram.
Yeah, because what actually happened was I started Instagram, as you said, was 2015?
Yeah.
And then when I was diagnosed, I deleted all social media. Facebook, Instagram, I kind of cleared it. And then through time, I come back on Instagram. And then with Facebook, it was kind of, when I'm back on Facebook, because I totally deleted my account, I went from having hundreds of friends to just narrowing it down to about, I think I've got about 150. Because I kind of thought to myself, you get this stage and it's like, would you meet that person for coffee? Would you meet them for lunch, for dinner? You kind of think to yourself, no, I wouldn't. I thought, well, there's no point in, keeping in contact with somebody you're never going to see again, or you're never going to meet up with.
It's a very common story that you go through a complete life reevaluation when you're given the diagnosis. So it
Yeah.
makes total sense that you just want to reset everything
Yeah.
digitally.
Yeah.
I went through the same thing, sort of,
Yeah.
where I started. I even moved cities because people
Yeah.
in my old city wouldn't understand, because now I'm in a wheelchair and my legs were getting weak, and everyone has a different story, right? But yeah, people didn't understand because I would use a cane, stop using a cane. Oh, you're getting better. It's like, and it's just,
No. Yeah.
I don't like to show people that I'm struggling. So it got harder for me, right? It's my ego. Yeah. So on Instagram, July 17th is when you first hashtag sclerosis. That's all you did.
Yeah.
You didn't say anything. All your chat, no one said anything about it. Like, oh, sorry. You just hashtag sclerosis. I'm like, okay. And then your first device shown on Instagram, 2019. Did you use it before? And you just didn't photo it?
Kind of. I deleted everything. Well, when Instagram, to be honest, I couldn't figure out how to delete it. So I kind of deleted all the posts. And then every so often I'd have looked at it. But then I just thought, I'm just going to go back on it and just see how many people out there have MS, because I didn't know anybody personally. So
Now, yeah.
well, I was diagnosed. I was in Edinburgh at the time. So I've been 8 years in Edinburgh and then moved back home. Well, obviously, just treatment and stuff and just family support. And I just find it kind of, it's just sort of, when I spoke to a social worker back in Belfast, I was basically told, you're young. I don't have any organizations or any really young, like teenagers, children, or it's basically pensioners. And there's nobody kind of in your age group. So really, and I thought, well, I'm going to have to go on to Instagram and have a look and see what is out there. Like, I know there are groups in Belfast, an MS group, but where it's located, I would have to rely on somebody taking me there. I couldn't get a train to it, or it's just, and I haven't bothered. I've just, Instagram, it's good for me. You get chatting to so many people across the world.
There's really cool virtual groups online. I'll talk to you after about it. And you're always welcome to it. International. It's all over. It's national.
Yeah.
Sorry. So
yeah, if they let me in, they'll let anybody in. It's fine.
come on, man. What else was I going to say? How old are you anyway? If you don't mind
42.
me asking.
Yeah, no, 42.
We're all the same age.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I think Nick here is a grandpa.
Am I the old man?
You're the oldest guy here.
43.
I'm 43 too, but he's older.
Yeah.
So what do you think of HSCT? Stem cell.
I was offered that. And at the start, I was offered that Ocrevus, or is it, I can't remember the name of it, begins with the K.
Kesimpta. Sorry.
Kesimpta, yeah. And at the start, I was all up for stem cell. And the more research I done on it, the more I realized that, with any treatment, you're not going to be cured. It's all about stabilizing progression. And my little nephew's 16 months. And if I was to go undergo stem cell, I would probably kind of be, out of action for maybe a year. And anyone I spoke to that had it in the UK said that if anything, they developed more issues with their bladder and bile. And I know a girl I used to work with from Scotland. In Scotland, they were sending a lot of people for stem cell, and then it all stopped before COVID, but they haven't started up again. And
Interesting.
Well, the MS nurse here, I spoke to her on Tuesday, and she said I was the first person she'd heard of being kind of, the stem cell, because in Northern Ireland, um, the National Health generally doesn't, approve it. It's normally has to be privately funded. But I don't know. I mean, I just see a lot of people. I don't know. It just takes so long to kind of recover, and then when they do recover,
To me, stem cell is sort of like
yeah,
the topic you don't talk about, like politics, religion,
yeah,
because everyone has a different belief. I have a different
yeah,
belief. I don't want to get
yeah,
into it. So I'm just curious because I know on
yeah,
posts I've seen someone say, "Hey, have you ever thought of stem cell?" And
yeah,
so I
yeah,
was just curious if you ever looked into it or whatnot. Where would you go
yeah.
to do the stem cell anyway?
Um, England,
Oh, they have it in England? Okay.
yeah. There's London and Sheffield.
Oh, okay.
Um, I don't know. I think if
Mm,
some people have gone for it, and uh,
yeah.
I think when you're first diagnosed, if you haven't been diagnosed long, and that's something you're offered, I'd probably have went for it, to be honest, at the start. I think
Yeah.
I probably would. Yeah, but
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think of
Nick, what do you think of it?
Well, we've talked a little bit about it, but to me, it's too far out there still.
Yeah.
Uh, not that not that any one country over any other country has a better grasp on what's safe and approved.
Uh-huh.
I think it's if it's universally approved by a large number of countries, then yeah, then I think it's something to look into. But I don't think we're quite there yet. I think it's sometimes put out there as like a miracle, like, oh, it'll and that's not the case. You're absolutely right. Anything we do is just going to slow down the inevitable.
I'll get haters if I talk about it. I feel like a lot of these Instagram accounts is a setup.
Yeah, it's
I'm
marketing.
not saying they're bad. Stem cell is good, but not specifically for MS. For a lot of, could stop a lot of illnesses but I think there's a lot of, I know it sounds really like, remember this? I'm not a conspiracist,
Yeah.
but I
Uh-huh.
really, there's a lot of accounts that are they're set up to show you like, yeah, it's good. Look at this guy. He's running now. And it's like, okay, relax. So,
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I mean, you can tell it's so many Instagram accounts out there.
yeah,
They're just,
I don't know. Did you know what MS was when you got diagnosed?
not really. But when I started having the symptoms, and having lived in Edinburgh for 8 years, with work, I had to register with the GP. I'd never actually seen the GP until the symptoms started. So I was just sent for blood tests, more blood tests. This carried on for a few months. And then it was MRIs. Um, just before I was diagnosed, I kind of worked out myself. I thought, well, it had to be because I'd been tested for everything. And, it was just, I thought, well, it would make sense because it just, at the start, I used to do, I probably would have done maybe 100 sit-ups a day. I got the stage where I couldn't do sit-ups. I used to do weights. I couldn't lift weights because the weakness, just the hands, I just couldn't manage it. And I'd fallen down a few times, but it was more like putting a pin to a balloon. I just deflated. I didn't actually hurt myself, but I just went down on the ground. And then I kind of had dropped foot. Um, Even though I was walking, I knew I wasn't walking in a straight line. I was going from, my balance wasn't there. And, that was it. So,
Oh man. So I'm guessing that no one in your family has MS.
nobody that is, I think it was like a distant cousin has
So,
MS,
okay.
but it's not blood related. My uncle's ex-wife has it, but again, she's not blood related.
Yeah.
Um, but it's not something that people really talk about. Just no.
So if no one, if no one's really talking about it and you're doing these exercises and they're getting harder and it's just harder to walk around and move and stuff,
Yeah.
what what were or are you doing for the mental health component? Because Terry and I have talked a lot about
Hmm.
how ego crushing this disease can be. So you have a good support network around you?
Yeah, good family, friends. Music is helps me anytime I'm feeling down. I've blast music. Being by the sea, at the water.
Mm.
My parents have a place in Spain. I can't go out. Well, I can go out there as long as I'm with somebody. I had a relapse out in Spain. I ended up in hospital. Um, so it's just I just love to be beside the sea. And thankfully, where I live in Northern Ireland, I'm only maybe 2, 3 minutes from the water. So it's I can take the wheelchair down, and it doesn't matter what the weather is. Um, but I think that's important, and just making. I know that I just want to make the most of the daytime because the afternoon um comes, I tend to get quite tired, and
Yeah.
later it becomes I'm just sort of I like to get out in the morning, have a shower, and
Mhm.
do things. Yeah,
Side note, what kind of wheelchair do you have?
I bought myself it's a Mobility Plus.
Oh, okay, okay. I just curious if like,
Yeah, no, it was just basically I was just using the crutches in the house, and then probably from about June, I was having to use the mobility scooter more and more in the house, and I just couldn't, get the toilet. I couldn't get into the shower, so I just thought, well, I'm going to have to get a wheelchair. And the power chair I got, I contacted quite a few manufacturers of all the latest ones were out. Nobody could give me the information on the distance, on the battery life. All they wanted to do was sell the product. And they were like, oh, we can get you a demonstration. And I'm like, well, I need something. I need to know, why can't you answer the questions? So I ended up going, the one I got was an awful lot cheaper. And it's actually made in England, or not made in England, it's made in China, but the company is in England. And I've had it from August and I've used it a lot. And it's great.
the scooter he has looks cool, not like mine. So when I see his,
No,
no, mine looks like I don't know, the
Terry
Pride
doesn't even
scooters.
like his.
No, man, you'll never see me on mine unless I have to go get a coffee because the wheelchair is hard to get a coffee in, you know. But his scooter looks cool, man. It doesn't even. It looks almost like a chair, a power chair, but it's not,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
But
that's
it's
what
but it.
no, it's power chair I have now.
Okay,
It
well,
is
it's a
power
cool
chair,
looking one.
yeah. Yeah, but it's actually probably the cheapest on the market. It was unbelievable, and it's the best thing. All the newer versions are okay. They're probably not as wide, but they cost thousands. They're so expensive. Um, but the one I got, I mean, it wasn't, and so far so good. So
Nice,
yeah,
nice. This guy has a lot of tattoos. I'm wondering, do you have any MS tattoos, or when you got diagnosed, did you get a tattoo for it?
no.
No,
I got when I got with work, I wasn't like tattoos. I was so against them,
that one.
and I was like, I'm not getting a tattoo ever. And then the first tattoo I got on my leg was an anchor, and from then I haven't stopped.
You were hooked. Yeah.
Yes, and it's all been done by the same guy. It's like father and son business, actually in Spain. Um, they've done all of the work. It's I'll not be going back now until next year, but I'll definitely get an appointment.
You go to Spain a lot?
Yeah, because my parents have a house there, so
Oh,
I find the heat helps so much. I hate the cold. And the cold, I feel it's just, no, I need to be in the heat. If I can't be in the heat, sunshine wise, I'm in the house with the heating on.
So I'm
Constant.
guessing you'll never visit me in Toronto, Canada.
I think it's too cold.
Isn't that crazy that it's either heat or cold? That, like when we talk to people, it's either one or the other they want.
Yeah, that's true. What do you
But
mean
in
though?
saying that,
Oh, because at
oh
Masters,
yeah,
I think it's the
yeah.
humidity.
Hmm.
Well, and I love the heat, and I've always loved the heat all before MS. And it was only this year, really, I realized the extreme heat, especially in Spain in the summer, was really, really hot. Could not cope. Um, it was just, no, it's too much.
Really?
And it's been a good few years from I've been on Sun Lounger because I can get on Sun Lounger, but I can't get off. I need
Hmm.
help to get off. So for a few past year, I haven't bothered. But if I'm flying about on the power chair and it's warm, no problem. I'm fine. But it's the minute I sit down in the seat in the sun, I've tried even pulling myself up and down every 10 minutes. Doesn't make a difference. Your body just kind of, it's like nearly like your whole body's starting to melt.
Yeah, the first thing that goes for me, it goes top down. So the first thing that
Yeah.
goes is my ability to think right and see
Uh,
correctly, and then my arms get heavy, and then
uh,
So I hear you. I melt as well.
yeah. And it's such a weird feeling. And then once you're inside and you've cooled down, you're back.
Yeah, it's like it's never happened.
Yeah, yeah. It's weird.
Yeah. I think the
So,
big problem here is the humidity. To get
yeah.
back on that, I think that's what everyone complains about, but that's number one. Heat. I love heat, but I think I'm starting to love the cold. I don't know why. Maybe because I'm inside a lot and I can control the heats.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, if I live near the water, I would want the heat too. I would want the
Yeah.
yeah, and it's gorgeous the pictures you put. I'm like you travel a lot. That's all.
It's most of them they're in Spain or they're down the water near where I live here in Northern Ireland.
Yeah,
I'm okay. There's some of them that I was on holiday in the summer with friends, but I would get a lot of photographs when I am away, and then I would just use them for the pictures for Instagram.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, why not?
So
And
having never been, if you don't mind, if you don't mind explaining what life with MS under the healthcare system you have,
Mhm.
because I've never been. Uh, uh, Give me the pros and cons. Like, what's the good and bad for how you have to navigate?
Um, I would say that it's nearly all pros because you're not having to pay yourself. Everything's funded through the NHS. Um, okay, you might wait. I suppose that would be one of the cons. There is a bit of a waiting time. I've been lucky with neurologists. I've never had a problem. I've seen my neurologist always face to face, meeting once a year, all appointments on telephone. So far, I mean, I've been good, but I'm always willing to try something. And when it comes to rehab, that I'm here at the minute. I mean, this is my second time this year. Um, third time since I have been diagnosed. But when I come in here, it is hard work, but I really enjoy it because you get amazing benefits. So it's worth it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and I can understand that.
Mhm.
Now, was it something you requested? Like, I want to go to rehab, or do they say you should go to rehab?
When I had my last um, appointment, that was, I think, June. That's what my consultant recommended.
Okay.
But they always know obviously, I was last year in January. I spoke to another doctor and I said, is there any chance I can get in here at least once a year? And they couldn't believe that I actually enjoyed it in here. And I was like, yeah, it's brilliant because you really do push yourself and you're exhausted. But I mean, I was in start of the year and I left on two crutches. So, I mean, if it gives me a little bit more independence and I'm able to get about, then great.
Sure.
Yeah.
Huh, very good. Very good to hear. Because I hear so many horror stories about Your Health Network, Terry's, like all these different versions, and I'm always curious to know how much is actually true and how much is just fear mongering, I guess.
Yeah. I think some people, I know that in my training group, except when I used to be in for Tysabri, um, a lot of people who are in that have been on diagnosed a lot longer than me, have been on treatment, have been on that over 10 years at least. None of them had ever been invited to rehab. They had never been, it's just something that was never
Huh.
offered to them. I've also heard of other people in England where they just don't have this opportunity. Whereas the girl I know in Scotland, she's had rehab a few times and she loves it too. So I guess it just depends whereabouts you're from in the UK, but you do hear different stories.
See, that's where I get bitter. When you
Yeah.
get diagnosed, I feel like your neurologist should be like, oh, here's a book, here's a support system, here's an osteopath, here's a massage therapist, here's a therapist. That's what I feel like they should do instead of us looking for it. Because a friend told me you should see an osteopath. So I said, okay. So I contacted an osteopath, and then I told my neurologist, hey, I'm seeing an osteopath. This is a story I've told before. And the neurologist is like, great. I would have sent you to that one too. And it's like, well, why didn't you?
Why didn't you? Yeah.
What's the
Yeah.
wait? Come
Yeah.
on, man. I hope my neurologist is not listening to this. But yeah, like it just bothers me. Like we should have, it should be told to us. We shouldn't be looking for it because we just don't know.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah.
What month were you diagnosed? Sorry, I'm just so curious.
January.
Okay.
Mhm.
Because you posted something in October, and it was a quote that you posted, and I was just trying to read your mind. Like, where's this guy going? Was he depressed? I'm not. Depression is a thing that is real, even if you're not showing depression, right? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
but there was a thing you wrote that said there are only two ways to live your life. One is as though nothing is a miracle. The other is as though everything is a miracle. And I'm like, wow, that's deep, man. And that was the first time you put the quote, October 2017. And I believe that's the first time you like started writing sclerosis. So I'm like, oh, he's out of the closet, the MS.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah. Yeah, because it's just an awful lot. You have to deal with an awful lot. And you're not prepared for it. I was diagnosed, and it's like, well, 2 months later, I'm in hospital, I'm in a wheelchair. It just happened so quickly. And it's just, people who you thought you were real friends at your time of need aren't there. You realize who your friends really are. And it's life changing. It really is.
Amen.
MS makes strangers into friends. Someone said that once.
Friends, yeah. It definitely,
cool.
yeah.
Wow.
No, it's so true. Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, one of the things I love the most about this show, Terry, is the fact that the majority, if not everyone we meet, you either say how you have this family connection, or it does feel like family, or how just similar we all are. I mean, here we are sitting on this Zoom, and we're all in different parts of the world, yet we all have exactly the same heat intolerance, the same stories, the same,
Yeah.
we even look the same. No, okay.
Yeah. So that's the whole reason why we call this podcast 40 Below Zero, because, and this was new to me at first, that it's 40 below zero in Celsius and 40 below zero in Fahrenheit if you were to convert it.
Okay.
It's the only
I
degree.
was wondering,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's 40
Yeah.
degrees below
Mhm.
Highlighting the
whatever.
similarities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long have you been diagnosed now?
Terry, go ahead.
Me, 2000 and oh my God, I forgot 2008.
2008. Yeah.
The first 5 years, you wouldn't know I had MS. Uh, when it started to show, I started to lean against walls. I needed to sit. I couldn't stand as long. And yeah, and then it just progressed slowly. And it's a thing where I feel like people think I gave up because now I'm in a chair. And when I sat in the chair, my legs got weaker because I wasn't moving them, but it was already torment just to walk. You see, I feel like I'm justifying to you why I was in a chair, but everyone has their journey. And people ask me all the time, when do you're supposed to be in a chair? When do you know
Hmm.
you don't? You're gonna
You
get a lot
don't.
of
No,
guilt.
you really don't. You
Yeah, just
don't.
dude, quality of living is what
Yeah.
you need to focus on.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
The answer I got from a family member was, I said, when do you know I should be, when do you think I should be in a wheelchair? They said, the minute you ask. And I was like, oh yeah, that's a good point. And then my wife said, you should have been in this chair months ago. But we struggle. We try to go as far as we can, right?
Yeah, no, totally. Like when I had the crutches, I would have walked as far as I could, exhaustion. I would have sat down. I remember one time sitting on a rock and I missed it when I sat down. I thought I was going to sit on the rock, but I ended up falling to the ground. But it's like you do push yourself, and
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, without mobility devices, you just wouldn't get outside, and you know, it's
No,
freedom. Yeah.
it
When I
is.
hear
And
that you fell off the rock, I think, did you get it on video?
No, it was like a well, it was like a big kind of rocket. It was actually in Spain, and no sooner had it happened, and I thought, oh God, people, if anybody drives past, they're going to be thinking, is he drunk or something? Because you don't normally see people. But I managed to get myself up; it was fine. But I remember falling before in the supermarket as well, and I would have put the crutch inside of the basket, and but I still used both crutches. And I was walking along, and then my legs just went and straight down. What can you do? Pick yourself back up, and that's it.
You pick yourself back up. Do you look around?
Yeah, and that's it. Just carry on. Yeah.
Yeah, I have my stories too. Um, Frustrations. I always ask everyone their triggers. Has anyone said anything to you to trigger you? Is there like don't worry, you'll get better. Drink some water, you'll be fine.
Oh, yeah. Oh God, friends are forever telling me, and I know they mean well, and I know they have my best interests at heart. But if I hear one more, if you take this supplement, or if you eat this, or if you try cannabis, or you try this, there's somebody I know, and I'm like, but I have tried everything, and so now I just get the stage where I'm just like, okay, there's no point in arguing because they do mean their best, and they don't mean, oh, but it is frustrating. Or like the other day, actually Saturday, I was on the train and the train conductor said, "Oh, I haven't seen you on this route." I, they just explained I was in hospital, asked me what's wrong, and it's like, "Oh, does it hurt? Is that why you're in a wheelchair?" And I'm like, "Well, I don't think people really understand what multiple sclerosis is. They honestly don't."
no, no. And that's another frustrating because and like with anything, we don't know. If you don't take the time to educate yourself, you just formulate a guess, and the guesses can be very wrong.
Yeah,
Totally. And that word
yeah,
intentions, you know how you say, oh, their intentions, or you didn't use intentions, but a similar word. I hate that.
yeah,
I get it. Their intentions are good, but the number one rule in this support group that I facilitate is you're not allowed to give anyone advice. That's the number one rule. So if someone's like, hey, my legs hurt, you're not allowed to say you should use crutches. Shut your mouth. Don't say anything. No advice is given because it triggers me when someone says, oh, you should, like, I was in a lineup in a grocery store and I think I was buying sweetener. Okay. Because I was getting into Splenda. And someone said, oh, that's probably what gave you your. Anyway, I'm not going to get into that. That's a trigger and a half, you know.
But it's like crutches too. I remember somebody saying, "Why do you use crutches? Crutches are for somebody who's broken a leg." And I'm like, "Well,
What?
yeah." And it's just like, oh, honestly,
Yep. I get the question when they see me, they're like, "What'd you do?"
uh,
I didn't do anything.
yeah. Yeah, I used to get that a lot when I was using crutches in supermarkets. It was like, have you been in an accident? Have you been in a fight? Have you been at the wars? I was like, oh. And the minute you said MS, their faces just
Oh, I'm so
looked at
sorry.
you, shocked,
Uh,
because they didn't know what to say.
Yeah.
But I find people in Northern Ireland tend to ask, whereas I find, especially in Spain, people don't ask. They're they're so good. Like I've been in St. Mark's in Spain where people have actually offered to do my shopping. They haven't said what's wrong with you. It's like I can
wow.
get you groceries, and even walking down even streets, narrow streets, it doesn't matter what age. People, when they can see you're struggling with your crutches, they will stand against the wall to let you past. Things like that, they would never happen here. People here would run in front of you or stand on top of you quicker.
Wow. Well, how everyone reacts differently, but how do you feel when someone offers that kind of help to like get your groceries or to do whatever for you? Do you take
I
it?
think no, to be honest, I don't, but I always thank them because I think, at the minute I can still manage, but there might come a day where I'll not be able to. So I think it's nice, especially when they're not asking what's wrong. They're not questioning why you're, at the time I'd have been using crutches or with the mobility scooter. They're not asking, you know. I think it's very kind. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'll say.
Yeah,
Because it is kind of an invasion of privacy to a little bit of a degree to ask
yeah,
why, you know.
yeah.
Um,
I
I
don't
mean,
think
well, people ask because they want to empathize. They want to identify why you have it, and then show empathy. But on the other end, it's like I got to explain this again. Like,
Yeah.
I,
Sorry, 2 seconds. Hi. I just need
I
to get my obs done and get medication.
all right. Well, real quick before that happens,
Sorry, can I get you to come back? Sorry, if you don't mind. Thank you. Thanks.
such is
That's
life
okay.
in the hospital.
Yeah, no, normally it's 9:30 or 9 o'clock when they come. No, it's okay.
So good.
Sorry, what were you going to say? Or what were you saying there?
this
I
is
don't even
amazing.
remember.
This is amazing. I don't know either. You can't do
Such
that.
yeah, but that's life though. So that when you're in a high, that's how it goes when your people are attending to you. They just come at their schedule and you just got to go with it, It happens.
Yeah, yeah, but normally it's normally 9:30. I mean, the other night I was having to sit up because I knew they were going to come and do observations. I wanted to go to bed. I was tired. But I thought, oh, I'm not getting into bed because I'll just wait up. Uh, it's
That's
all good.
that's exactly why I hate having anyone come here to help me because and I know over here in Canada we have PSWs, personal support workers, and they will come and assist you. But if I got someone for 8:30, sometimes they'll come early, and it really annoys me. And I'm like on their schedule, and so
So that would be kind of, they keep off asking me about, they call it here a care package. But if
mm,
you have people coming out, they come out at set times and it's 7 days a week. And I just
Okay.
think, some days you want to lie in bed. And I just think, I manage my family help. So it's just, yeah, and you can do so much yourself. And Terry, do you live alone or?
yeah, I live alone,
Yeah,
and
same as me. Yeah.
yeah, um, yeah, and I have that ego thing where when someone assumes I live with someone, I'm like, no, I live alone. It's like an ego thing. It's like I don't need any help, and I've set myself up. But I mean, I don't mind help. I'm not, now I'm a little better. I accept help, but as long as I can do it on my own.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, it's true. And it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, you always find a way. And sometimes, yeah, totally, yeah, you do need help. And as long as you know, you can always ask.
You seem like your ambiance is at peace. Like, do you get frustrated? Do you bang walls? Do you lose it? How
No, no, I'm always been quite chilled, laid back. So,
seriously?
I'll
yeah,
say.
yeah.
Is
Most people
your
are raging at the sun when they get diagnosed for years.
No, I'm just like, well, it's at the end of the day, it's what can you do? It's like, you know, there's no point in getting crazy about it because there's nothing you can do. And I think the one thing is no matter, doesn't matter how rich you are, you know, there's no cure for it. So you have got just live with it, don't
do you
you?
consider yourself newly diagnosed?
Um, I
What's
suppose,
newly?
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Well, and well, I wouldn't really, but when I'm speaking to other people with MS and treatment groups and things, they would always say, oh, you're newly diagnosed. Maybe because they've had it for 15, 20 years. Um, but no, I remember when I was diagnosed and I had a relapse, I was brought into hospital and I seen a counselor and she was like, oh, you're going to crack. You're going to crack. And I was like, I don't need to speak to you, you know. For starters, I didn't trust her because she was telling me far too many personal information about her friends. And I thought, you expect me to talk to you confidentially and you're not even
Yeah.
confidential.
Yeah,
But
no,
yeah,
that's wrong.
she kept saying to me, you're going to crack, you will crack. I thought, well,
Well, have
I
you?
crack. No.
Yeah, see?
Oh,
Garbage.
Everybody's different.
yeah, yeah, totally. Yeah. And do you find you still just get angry or frustrated or
I get more worried when things seem to be progressing.
mm,
Um,
yeah,
the diagnosis itself, I don't consider myself newly diagnosed anymore now that it's been 10 years.
uh,
Um, but as things start to, as my abilities start to lessen a little bit, then I get
uh,
worried. I don't get angry anymore.
uh,
So,
Sorry, Nick, this was your 10 year this year, right?
July was, yeah.
Yes, yes. So 10 years for him.
mm,
I get irritable when I get
mm,
scared. So I
yeah,
get tired that I can't do something. And I used to think it's because I'm tired and this and that, but it's not. It's because I'm scared, because I'm getting weak and it scares me, you know. But then I recover from it. I get some rest and
yeah.
I'm back to normal, like you guys know.
Like some, yeah,
But it doesn't matter because when I get weak, it reminds me of how my future is going to be.
yeah. That's true. That's one
That's,
thing that does scare me.
yeah.
It's, you know, how long I kind of think, well, how many more years am I going to be able to live independently? Thing I don't want is I don't want cars. I don't want my family to come in and kind of, you know, have to hoist me out of bed and things like that. I don't I don't want that. No. Mm,
It's a there's a whole sphere of things that we don't want to think about because it kind of for me it feels like if I think about it then it'll become real and I can't have it be real, so I'll just ignore it. Uh, it's probably not healthy, but that's how it
no,
works.
but yeah, it is. It's how it works. And at the end of the day, it's just you never know what's around the corner, I suppose, with anything in life. So
Mhm.
uh,
I hear you, man.
it it is hard though when you think, you know, how's the
Yeah.
future going to be? Because you know it's when you're diagnosed, especially in your oldest, you're not going to be in a wheel. You might not end up in a wheelchair, and they said to you as if it's the worst thing, and it's not. It's not the worst. Um, but I think you know if that's the way it goes. As long as you can still, yeah, you still enjoy life, then yeah.
Just stay comfortable as much as you can. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
As soon as I have
Definitely.
any effort with something, like I have a struggle, I'm like, how can I fix it? So next time there is no struggle.
Yeah.
So my whole place is like custom, stupid, weird things just for me.
Uh-huh.
I have
So it makes
photos
your life
on my
easier.
wall that are like down.
Uh-huh.
Why do they have to be up? Like, it's for me, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh. Oh yeah, right enough. Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah. That makes a difference then. Yeah.
So we're coming up to the end of the episode. Is there a shout outs? We usually ask our guests if there's any shout outs they'd like to make.
No.
Awesome.
It's my first time. It's my first time doing a podcast, so I
Okay.
haven't really
Is there
got a clue.
any family members or anybody in particular you want to say thank you to, or give special recognition to? I don't know. We just put it out there.
I would just say to my parents, my sister.
You're awesome, man.
Yeah.
What would you say to a newly diagnosed Northern Irelander? I don't even know if I said that right, and pardon my ignorance if I didn't.
No, you're right. No, I have spoke to people quite newly diagnosed, and just keep living your life, and just find out what you can, what you're entitled to, and you just need to keep pushing and pushing to get appointments, and to get on treatment, and you decide yourself what's best for you. Don't listen to other people, especially I think a lot of people with MS, okay, they've experienced different treatments and whatnot, but everybody has their own experience, and I think you need to decide for yourself. Yeah.
Over here, we say advocate for yourself. Did I say
Advocate
that right?
for yourself.
Advocate.
Advocate. Yeah.
But what you said, perfect. Exact. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Oh, okay, no problem.
Very nice meeting you, sir.
Yeah, you too. Yeah, nice meeting you too.
I'm very much looking forward to the next time we speak.
Yeah, definitely.
Terry,
Awesome.
my man.
Yeah, no, this was great. I'm so glad to finally see this guy face to face.
Yeah, exactly.
Virtually,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's good. Well, I've enjoyed it.
You're real, man. You are who you are.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we'll talk soon.
Okay. All right.
Awesome.
Perfect. All right.
Okay.
Take care.
Take care. All right, Nick. So check us out at 40belowzero.com. That's 4-T-below-zero.com. Or feel free to reach out to us. We'd love to hear from you. Our email address is info@40belowzero.com. Our personal Instagram account are, for Nix, it's Nix_V713. Or for Terry, it's What's_MS. Awesome. Looking forward to hearing from you guys. We'll talk soon.